Good evening, everybody. Good evening. We are back with another Phins Forecast show. It is NFL Draft Eve. Uh,
Love
Draftmas Eve, as Taylor said, right? Um,
that.
we are on the eve of the NFL draft. So tonight we are going to be doing 3 mock drafts for you guys. Each one of us is going to take control of the Dolphins and do a full 7-round mock draft for the Dolphins. And we're going to compare, contrast, critique. It's gonna be a really fun show. It's gonna be a really great show. I was thinking about this the other day. I always say it's gonna be a great show. What if one of these days I just went on there? It's gonna be an alright show.
It's going to be a moderately okay show.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you guys may
I'd appreciate the honesty. To be honest.
you guys may or may not enjoy it. I don't know. But yeah, it is going to be a great show. I do mean it, and we're going to start it right after this. All right. Good evening, everybody. We are back with another Phins Forecast show. It's not going to be a very long show because we're going to be going live for nights 1 and 2 of the draft. So you're going to get sick of us by the end of this. So we're going to keep it short tonight, but we are going to have a lot of fun as per usual. First, I'm going to introduce my two co-hosts. Taylor, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm very pumped, but also already tired. Going into the draft. It's kind of just hit that point in the draft process where you're just like, all right, I'm pumped for it, but let's get on with it.
Yeah. And, I know we've been talking about the draft for the past, 2 months or so. And I know when this first started, I saw your eyes glaze over, Taylor, because I know this is your jam, this whole draft thing. But it's getting to be all these mock drafts, all these. We're in the age of misinformation, smoke screens, and it's time to just get this done.
Who did or didn't go to Shedeur Sanders' birthday party? That's what we're here to figure out.
Yeah. I certainly didn't go.
No.
Mostly because I wasn't invited. So
I wonder if Shedeur Sanders found the $100 bill in the back of the.
Yeah.
That's another one.
It's a movie reference for those of you all that don't know. Draft day.
Funny thing is, that's actually somewhat a true story though, because they did that with Jamarcus Russell back in the day, and
he did not read it apparently.
Yeah, he did not pass that test. So how you doing tonight, Josh?
Oh, dude, vibing, man. I love it. This is a little paralysis by analysis after a certain point, right? Because we're in it. We're for those of you that don't know or haven't figured out yet, we have quite a lot of off-air conversations about our top 100 draft boards and everything, and it's getting to a certain point where it's like, all right, I'm done talking about it. Let's see who we're going to draft so we can start evaluating their fit on the team. And it is tomorrow. I cannot believe that the draft is already here, fellas. It feels like the season just ended. And at the same time, it feels like we've been waiting for years.
Yeah. And, that's the thing. Like, as soon as the season ended, and honestly, in the middle of the season, I had one eye on the draft because it wasn't going our way. Let's face it.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew it. And we knew there was going to be holes and there's going to be, it's been a long time coming and it's finally almost here. We're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow night, but we're going to have a lot of fun tonight, predicting what the Dolphins can potentially do in this draft. So how this is going to work is each of us is going to use a different website, and each of us is going to do our own mock draft, and we're just kind of go through it. And at the end, the other two who kind of sat that segment out, we'll critique, we'll go over it with with a fine tooth comb. So I think we decided the order beforehand, and I believe I drew the short straw. I'm going first, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen with everybody.
I'm going to switch over the overlay, so I apologize for the viewers if it gets a little funky here for a second.
Yeah. So I'm going to share this, and boom, there we are.
Hey.
I'm using NFLDraftBuzz.com. It's a site I really enjoyed. We used this for a show a few weeks ago, I believe.
I think our first mock draft show.
Yeah, and I enjoyed this site, so I figured I'd go with this one.
I would just make sure to put it on warp.
Yes,
speed.
absolutely. So warp speed, 7 rounds, random 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know what that.
So that determines whether the algorithm, if you pick a 1, it'll stick to pretty much what the needs are, what the perceived needs are for the team. If you pick 4, you might have somebody like, the Philadelphia Eagles trading up to take Ashton Genty or something like that.
Right. So we're going to stick with 2 regular trades on, CPU to CPU trades. I'm going to actually turn that on. Trade chart, Jimmy Johnson. I've always liked that one anyway. And consensus rankings for the CPU picks. That's what I'm going to use. I'm going to select the Dolphins.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I
you don't want to do the Cardinals?
I'm doing the Vikings, but no. I'm going to do the Miami Dolphins as my team, and I'm going to enter the draft. So as you can see, and this we did this layout before. We had the rankings, all that, and I'm going to
now before you hit start.
Yeah.
Are you approaching this as the GM of Miami, or are you approaching this as the co-host of Phins Forecast?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Well, I'm going to honestly a little bit of both.
Okay.
I don't think I can.
There's no wrong answer. I was just curious.
I don't think I can completely take my own feelings and thoughts out of this.
So 5 offensive linemen. Got it. Get ready, fellas.
Here we go. All right, so I'm going to start the draft. And again, we're doing warp. So I'm going to just minimize this real quick. And I'm going to go through the top.
Oh, Jesus. There's no way Travis Hunter is still there.
Yeah.
What happened to this?
Yeah. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to reset this.
Yeah, there's no way that Pierce goes number 1.
Let's
great start.
Let's do random 1 here. Dolphins.
Do warp.
Warp.
Leave CPU on. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's wild.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get a hinky one. It's all good.
Yeah. So we're going to try this again, and we're going to start the draft. So
there we go. That looks more like it.
I'm going to go back up here. Travis Hunter went number 1 to the Titans, Cam Ward to the Browns, Abdul Carter to the Giants, Will Campbell to the Patriots, Mason Graham to the Jaguars, Shador to the Raiders, Ted McMillan to the Jets. Love that for the Jets.
I don't.
No, I mean, I love that for us.
I don't. Are you kidding?
Oh, no?
No. I've watched a lot of film on Ted the last couple of days, and he's starting to grow on me quite a lot.
We have James Pierce to the Panthers. That's a bit of a surprise. Ashton Genty making it all the way to number 9 with New Orleans. Armand Membu to the Bears. Calvin Banks to the 49ers. Derek Harmon to the Cowboys. And now we are up. So basically, I look at this right here. I want to accept the trade.
The one that's flashing up top in the middle.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm not interested in picks for next year. I'm honestly not. Like, this is, I understand, like, I understand how it works, but I'm not gonna do picks for next year as a barometer here.
Keith, also, you said you're taking this from your own thoughts and opinions on these players and what the Dolphins should do to a little bit of what you think the Dolphins, a little bit of a mix of both. And something Chris Greer did say in that press conference is, hey, we're looking for guys in this draft who will be able to contribute day one.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're 100% right. Like next year picks don't really seem to be on the table.
I mean, I don't know, man. This is smokescreen season. Maybe he's really not looking for any impact players. We don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Ooh, I like
Another
that.
developmental corner. Let's go.
I'm sorry, I can't talk, but I love going down one and getting a buttload of pick next year.
Yeah, I mean, that would be nice, but again, like that doesn't help me for this year. Now, I will say this. The Bills trading me their second round pick, their first round pick, and another second round pick for number 13. I'm not normally inclined to trade with the Bills, but I like this offer. I'm going to accept this offer.
Bold move, Cotton.
So now I'm all the way down to number 30, I believe. So I look down. Yeah, number 30.
Ravens got Savanaya. Oh man, that's a good pick for them.
Yeah. So I look at this right now, and Malachi Starks is still available to us. Nick Emenwari. What's that?
Not a bad board at all.
No. Jalen Walker, like I kind of like the way this played out for us. Jahad Campbell, Tyler Booker. So looking at this right now, I see Jalen Walker. I'm actually a huge fan of Jalen Walker. He's a little undersized for my liking, but he's a heat-seeking missile on the other side of the ball. I don't see him as an edge rusher. I see him as an off-ball outside linebacker. And this is a bit of a luxury pick, but I'd love to add Jalen Walker, an agent of chaos, to the Dolphins defense.
Also, if I can get it, if he's there at 30, I mean, jump on it. There's
Micah
very
Parsons
much like it's so unlikely that he gets past 10 or 11. So yeah, if he's sitting there at 30, I don't think anybody could fault you for taking him.
So I'm actually going to go with Jalen Walker here, and should be up fairly soon. And there we go.
God, look who's still on the board.
So we still have Malachi Starks on the board, Nick Emenwari, Xavier Watts. The top three players on the board are safeties. So I think Malachi Starks is probably the best fit for the Dolphins defense, more so than Watts or Emenwari. So I'm actually gonna. I mean, at 48, you can't really go wrong with Malachi Starks here. So I'm gonna go with Malachi Starks.
Especially when you'd be okay taking him at 13. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So now we have some trade offers. So 5th round pick and then a 3rd round pick. Let's see the next offer here. All picked for next year. No, thank you, Dallas. No, thank you, Jerry. All picked for next year. No, thank you. And all right, so I'm actually
you'd be trading down 2 for that one.
Yeah,
I think?
Yeah. But I'm actually going to use this pick. So I've gone all defense thus far. And
also went all Georgia players. Who's the top Georgia player on the board right now?
Well,
Tate Ratledge?
I'm using the Philadelphia Eagles model.
If it ain't broke.
Yeah. So Wyatt Millam is here at number 62. Wyatt Millam is one of my favorite players in this draft. We were talking about doing man crushes, quote unquote. He's one of mine. He would fill a need at right guard for the Dolphins, and I see him as a guy who can be a 10-year starter.
When do you pick next? Guard. So this is 56, and then you pick at 62. It looks like.
I pick at 62 again.
All right.
So I'm going to take Wyatt Millam here.
Man, I think you could take a higher rated player, and I bet you he's there at 62 if you wanted to risk it.
I'm not trying to.
Don't let me influence. This is your draft. I'm just thinking out loud.
I could, but I don't want to risk losing Wyatt Millam.
That's fair.
So I'm going to draft Wyatt Millam here.
After you're done with your next pick, can we pause and we'll chat about your first couple of picks in rounds 1 and 2?
Absolutely.
Cool.
So I said after my next pick?
Yeah, because that'll be the last pick in the 2nd round. Right. Or get through the 3rd round. Yeah. So your next 2, get through your next 2 picks.
So the guy who I was hoping would be there at 62 is actually there. Azariah Thomas. Guys, well, I know you're a big fan. Well, I don't know if you're a fan of him or not, Josh, but I know he went to your alma mater.
Not a massive fan, but I do like him as a player, and I do like him as a Miami Dolphin fit.
Yeah.
So in the later rounds, I still think I have I think a round 3/4 on him, but
Well, we're still in the second. And I look down, there's a lot of players available to the Dolphins right now, and that's all well and good.
Carson Schwarzenegger still there.
But Dolphins do have a needed corner, and Azariah Thomas is there. I think it's a big drop off at a certain point with cornerback. So I'm going to go with Azariah Thomas here. So
I just saw one of my new man crushes, or my new certified dog players still on the board. Thank you, Taylor, for pointing him out to me. I am not going to say anything because I do not want to influence the draft.
All right, so just to go through what I've done thus far, I've gone with Jalen Walker in the first round, traded down with Buffalo to get their pick. Malachi Starks in the second round. These two guys are steals, in my opinion. Absolute steals at their positions. Wyatt Millam, he's just a man crush. I may have overdrafted him. And then Azariah Thomas, I didn't want to miss out on cornerbacks. And that's why I drafted him where I drafted him. So now we're going to the end of the third round here at number 98 overall. I'm going to look at my offers just to see what everybody's offering. Atlanta's offering me picks for next year. Cincinnati's offering me picks for next year. Titans are offering me
the first pick in the fourth round and the third pick in round 5.
Yeah, to move down 5 spots. I actually like that trade. Let's see what else we got. Pick 7.
You can't do 2 with the Bills in one draft. I feel like that's illegal.
Yeah, but I am going to accept this Titans trade. I do like it.
Did you see who was on the board before you accepted? Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm talking too much.
I'm assuming Makuba's your man crush here. No?
Go down 1. No. Go down 1 player from Makuba.
Savion Williams. Okay.
Yeah. I've watched film on him, and I've instantly become a fan of his. And I was not high on him.
Player?
Huh?
Is that the player you were talking about?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I'm not gonna pass up the opportunity to add more talent to the Dolphins, add another pick. So I'm going to accept this trade.
The draft could end now with your picks, and I think it's pretty damn good, all things considered.
Agreed.
Just need a defensive tackle bad.
Yes. And that's what I'm going to be looking at here. Kevin Winston, we've already drafted safety. We've already
why don't you go
Lathan Ransom. So let's see what kind of defensive lineman we have here. And
I love the first guy on that list.
Yeah, I love him too.
I don't like the name because it gives me chills from the previous Jordan Phillips.
But I do think that he's a pretty good value here. So I'm going to actually draft Jordan Phillips.
Sorry, Keith. I feel like I'm talking too much during your draft.
What is interesting about the D-line as well, the needs there, is not only do you need a nose tackle in terms of Dolphins needs, not your draft, but you need a nose tackle and also somebody to go opposite the Steelers. So I feel like you're at the point with Jordan Phillips where it's like, all right, I got nose tackle handled.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And this guy, Tez Johnson here, he's another one of my.
Yours. Yeah, you've been talking about him since like the end of the season.
Now he's light, but he's quick. He's fast. I've watched a few Oregon games. They switched to the Big Ten, so now I watch a lot more of their games. I watched them against Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Tez Johnson is an electric player. I don't know how he's going to hold up in the NFL because of his size, but I do like his physical tools. If he's used correctly, he can be a really good player in the NFL. So I'm actually going to draft Tez Johnson here.
And for the people who would bring up his 40 time, I completely get it. I don't think he's like lightning fast on film, but he's a lot quicker, at least quicker, more agile than what that 40 time, shows.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to watch some game tape on him to truly appreciate a guy like Tez Johnson.
Yeah, what's crazy about him when I watch tape is that I watched him at the combine, and then you watch him on tape, and like he none of his speed or agility or anything is impacted with the shoulder, but with all of his gear, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. So I'm gonna double dip a corner here. I do like Kobe Bryant out of Kansas, so I'm gonna double dip here and draft Kobe Bryant here.
Resurrected.
And now we're back. Now we're down to the 5th round. This is the pick I traded with. This is the trade I made with the Tennessee Titans, and a guy who I was hoping was still going to be here is actually here. Dylan Gabriel, big fan of this guy. Has outside of the left-handed quarterback, he has some toe in him. A little bit undersized, but a really good leader and throws with nice accuracy, nice anticipation. He'll be a nice guy to kind of bring along behind Tua, behind Zach Wilson. Maybe he can be Tua's backup in the future. So I'm actually going to draft Dylan Gabriel.
And you got it. And you got his boy.
Yeah, Tez Johnson, his number one wide receiver. So now we're
I just want to reference when it comes to undersized, he is 5'11". So it's not undersized like he's 6'1".
No, that's Pat White level.
Yeah. So he is again 5'11". That's really undersized.
Yeah.
But Tua's 6'1". It's not like Tua's he's not big.
Tua's undersized, but Dylan Gabriel, I think, is
Dylan Gabriel's
another tier. Yeah, he's another tier below that. And that's not the dog to pick, by the way. I completely agree. I think there's a lot of similarities in their game. I really like him as a backup option, especially, when it comes to the long term. So
now,
I just want to throw that out there.
Do you think that it's important that we get a quarterback in this draft, or just if the situation falls right and there's one at that pick that we'd like, you take them? Or is it are you headhunting one at some point? Maybe not necessarily early, but you're definitely coming out of this draft with one.
I mean, there are very few quarterbacks for me in the later rounds that I'm a big fan. Like, I'm not a big fan of Riley Leonard. I watched him play at Notre Dame. Not a big fan of his game. There are very few quarterbacks who I would feel comfortable drafting, and Dylan Gabriel is one of them. So I'm not married to have to take a quarterback at some point in this draft.
But if the right one's there at the right time, pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So time to go down. Look at some of these guys: Pat Bryant, Nick Nash. Now, this is a bit of a. I don't know why Damian Martinez is this far down in the rankings. I know he's not fast, but he's a load to bring down. And I think he'd be a great power runner for the Dolphins. Great situational guy, great guy to bring up alongside and behind Devon Achane and Jalen Wright. Huge fan of Damian Martinez here, actually, in the 5th round. So I'm actually going to go with him.
Taylor, what is your ADP for Martinez? I have a 4th on him. Like, I have him, with a 4th round grade, certified, like almost third.
Or
like where do you have him being drafted at? Because he's really good.
I have him as a 2nd to 3rd round grade. Yeah. He is.
Who's your comp for him again?
7th running back and my 64th overall. My comp form was Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, so I got a 3rd, 4th on him. He's my 6th rated running back, and I got A.J. Dillon. I mean, I really am a big fan of his.
Yeah, I am too.
He's kind of like that player that I always draft in all of, like, I've done a million of these things, and he's on every single one of them.
Yeah, I agree, and he's always there, and I think he's ranked too low in a lot of these mock draft simulators. I do think he's going to probably go in the mid to late 4th, and we got him in the 5th. So I'm happy. I'm happy. Next, I'm going to go back to the offensive line here. I'm going to go with Holland Pierce out of Rutgers.
I like it. All
right. Donovan,
something to note here while Keith is looking at the next pick. That Jalen Ramsey trade, It does seem like it's something that, in terms of cap and what's the most like logistical thing to do, would be something post draft.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't foresee us sitting here and going, oh well, we could get an extra third with a Jalen Ramsey trade.
No,
Yeah.
but I will say that there have been quite a lot of rumblings about a potential Hill trade during the draft at some point. With the reports that I've read, netting Miami a potential mid pick this year and a higher pick next year's draft kind of thing.
Would it be like based on performance, based on stats and stuff like that?
No. Like we get like 2 picks or 3 picks. We get one in like round. I'm just making this up. Like one in round 3 this year and a round 2 next year or something, or a round 4 this year and a round 3 next year or something like that.
Gotcha.
The reports are all over the place, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So Kyle Monangai is a guy who, and I know I've already taken a running back, and I fully understand that, Damian Martinez is probably going to be the number 3 running back, or maybe the number 4 behind Alexander Madison. But Kyle Monangai is a guy who I see as a sleeper in this draft. His brother spent some time with the Philadelphia Eagles, watched him play. And I actually like the way this guy runs. He's got great balance. He reminds me of is Muscle Hamster. Doug Martin. Doug Martin. That's who he reminds me of when I watch him run. So I'm going to actually draft Kyle Monangai here.
I mean, if this were to happen, I think Taylor. That means Achan's our new slot receiver.
I finally get what I wanted.
I know.
And with this pick, I'm going to take another guy who I see as a sleeper in Teddy Buchanan. I talked to you about him before, Josh.
Mm-hmm. What a name. What a name.
Yeah. Teddy Buchanan, great name for a linebacker. Get him in the 7th round. I think this is a guy you can develop behind your core of linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe spend the season on the practice squad. But this guy is aside from the hair, he does play like Palomalu. He's seeking missile out there. Had I think 12 tackles for loss in the senior season at Cal. I think his lack of size has really hurt him in this draft process. But we've seen undersized linebackers like Zach Thomas, like London Fletcher, guys like that, who have been drafted lower because of their size, and
just guys like that.
Yeah,
let me throw 2 of the best to ever play the position. Just scrubs like that come out of college and somehow make it.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying, but I also think if you knock a guy for his size too much and you knock a guy down too far, you're doing so at your own peril. So I'm going to draft Teddy Buchanan here. Okay, so I think this is our last pick here at 253. Just going to go down, take a look.
Don't forget, you're still on linebacker.
Yes, that's true. Oh,
unless you want to take another one.
No, I'm good.
We're going 4 running backs in this draft, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's see. Tonka Hemingway. I'm just going to draft this guy because I like his name. Tonka Hemingway. So
get a Tonka truck sponsorship.
Yeah. So this is how I'm going to finish out the draft here with Tonka Hemingway. And
all right, so if you hit close, it'll just stay on the screen right there. Yeah, there you go.
Yes. So just to review, took Jalen Walker in the 1st round, Malachi Starks in the 2nd. 2 steals, Wyatt Millum, a man crush in the 2nd as well. Azariah Thomas also in the 2nd. Jordan Phillips didn't have a 3rd round pick, so I took Jordan Phillips in the 4th. Tez Johnson in the 4th as well. Kobe Bryant, cornerback out of Kansas. Dylan Gabriel, quarterback out of Oregon. Damian Martinez here, running back out of Miami. Holland Pierce, offensive tackle out of Rutgers. Went back-to-back Rutgers players and took Kyle Monangai in the 7th round here. Didn't have a 6th round pick. Teddy Buchanan in the 7th. And Tonka Hemingway.
All right, so you got 2 Rutgers, 2 Oregon, 2 Georgia, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so if I may,
Yeah.
and I, I love you, Keith.
Yeah.
If this ended up being our draft, I might jump off a roof. There is a lot. There are some things that I really like in this, right? I think Jalen Walker, okay, right? It's a luxury pick, but he's talented, right? We traded down. You get a talent like that with shades of Micah Parsons at 30. You can't not take him. You know what I mean? Malachi Stark's probably my favorite pick in this draft. Jordan Phillips, probably my second favorite pick in this draft where you got him. Mm-hmm. I like Wyatt Millum. Millum? Is that Millum? How do you pronounce his last name?
I'm pretty sure it's
Milam. Yeah.
I like my boy Thomas. There's some good things, right? It's just, I guess my question would be, of these, who do you think are day one starters?
I see Starks, Walker, Milam, and Azariah Thomas might be forced in there. Jordan Phillips might be a rotational piece on the defensive line.
So if your 4 of your top 5 picks are day one starters, I think this is a success, right?
Kobe Bryant's also he's going to probably be a role player day one.
Yeah.
Him and Mello Dotson both have 4 years experience each at Kansas.
Yeah, at the very least, you look at Kobe Bryant. He's going to be a special teams gunner, learn the ropes.
Yeah.
And I think I double dipped on corner. Also, this is assuming that Jalen Ramsey is going to be traded. I do think he's going to be traded eventually. Yeah. I went with a wide receiver in Tez Johnson with the assumption that Tyreek Hill is not going to be here this season.
At some point.
and certainly not past next season.
So, question: so if Hill gets traded, right?
Yeah.
Let's say he gets traded sometime in the season. Waddle becomes our 1.
Yeah.
Westbrook Akine is probably our 2, I think.
Washington will probably be 2.
You think Washington? Do you think Washington? Do you think Washington stays in the slot? Oh, I guess they're interchangeable. Do you think that Tez breaks the top 4? I could see it.
I could see it too. Yeah. But I also see Tez as a guy who you want to use him sparingly, probably in his first season, and get him on an NFL diet, on an NFL weight. No, you want to add 10 pounds to this guy's frame. And I don't know that there's 10 pounds to add to this guy's frame, but you got to try.
Well, can you click on profile? How much does he weigh? Unless you know.
I think he's about
165.
Yeah,
he's 165.
So his spleen's gonna be blown out of his back if he's not careful.
For whatever reason, it's not letting me click on his profile.
No, it's fine. Probably because the draft's over.
But he's about 160 pounds, 165 pounds. I'd like to see him in the 175 to dare I say 180 range. That's where Deshaun Jackson played at. And
what did he run? What did Tez run?
He ran in the 4.5s, I believe. Okay. Which is a little slow for a guy his size, but also, again, look at him play. Look at the game tape.
No, I'm with you. I was curious because he plays like a 4-3, 4-4 guy.
Yeah. And he's a great route runner. And I think a guy like that could become to his best friend, especially out of the slot.
Yeah.
So,
and admittedly, I don't know much about the Oregon offense. I mean, I watched a couple of games, but.
Yeah. I watched a few just because they're in the Big Ten now. And if they were still in the Pac-12, I probably wouldn't have watched any of their games this season.
Fair.
So, there's my draft. I'm going to turn this over to who's next here.
So originally it was Taylor, but Taylor, you said you wanted to present your other one and then do a live. So do you want to go last so you can do both of those?
No, I don't mind going next. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm probably not going to present my practice mock draft. I'll probably just do this live one.
Okay.
So I will go ahead and present.
Yeah, Keith, you just need to stop sharing your screen, buddy.
Yes. All right. Stop screen. Yeah, there we
go. All right. And you know what? And I think it was a knee-jerk reaction, Keith. After talking about it, wasn't as bad as my initial gut reaction was, so I apologize.
It's all good.
Wouldn't be an ideal draft, right? Given the needs we have, but I like the players.
No, I wouldn't. And maybe I shouldn't have traded out of 13, but
that's okay. That's the fun of this.
if certain guys aren't there, and Will Johnson was there. If Will Johnson was there, if Will Johnson's there at 13 tomorrow night, I don't see the Dolphins passing that up, especially with their new cornerback being so pressed.
While we're waiting, because there's some buzz, right?
Yeah.
Are you concerned at all about all of the medical things that are coming out now? Shoulder, knees, ankles, back. I mean, ligaments.
Mildly, but then I look at his 2023 tape and I think, hot damn.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. All right, let's see what we got.
All right. So, yeah, I'm not muted. Wanted to make sure. That would have been bad. So, I am using a mock draft site. I believe this is a fan-made site, Mock Draft Hero. And I found this while searching through Reddit, and Josh kind of stole my mock draft.
No. I don't think so, buddy. I don't think so. I called that one on like last Tuesday.
Yeah, to be fair, he did.
So we're sitting here at 13. I did restart it once because I saw Tet McMillan go 1, and as much as I do like Tet McMillan, I don't know about that one. So sitting here at 13, I immediately see Tyler Warren on the board, and that is very interesting to me. I'm going to click the offensive line and interior defensive line here to see who's there.
Oh, Kenneth Grant. I like him a lot.
Josh Simmons also there. Kelvin Banks.
Now, Josh Simmons obviously tackled at Ohio, but you see him, if I'm not mistaken. You and I are on the same page. You see him on the inside, right?
I see him as a tackle. I think he can play guard.
Yeah.
And also, this is something that I've been thinking about the last few days. You think about Austin Jackson, right? Coming back from the knee injury he had last season. Should we be assuming he's going to come back like early in the season? Like, is that 100% confirmed?
Well, I mean, reports are that he's practicing or doing like stuff like that. So I assume so.
Now, I will say this. Taylor, before you continue. Anthony's been kind of banging this drum. And Anthony, what's up? How you doing?
Oh,
man?
yeah. Hey.
Hope everything's good. But Anthony's been banging this drum for a while. He's been talking about moving Austin Jackson inside potentially to guard. I've been coming more and more to that mindset. I do think maybe guard might be a good place for him, and the Dolphins draft themselves a replacement at right tackle.
Yeah, and plus not only that, you would get Patrick Paul insurance, essentially. Right?
Yeah.
So just looking at the trades that are available, Minnesota trading, let's see, that's 2026 second, even though you would get a third. The Rams, also another similar trade, and 1 pick down for a 4th-round pick.
Oh, that's not bad.
And that's also because I would assume they take Warren here. So would I rather have Tyler Warren, who I think is a blue-chip prospect in this class, or take a position of need? Man, that's a tough decision to be in.
Well, so go back to all and see who's up there.
Okay. Could just hit clear all.
I don't know.
So Warren, Mike Green.
Yeah. So my assumption would be your choice. I mean, I'm not you, right? You're running this draft, but Tyler Warren's probably the pick, right? If you trade down 1, which would probably leave you to choose between Grant and Simmons, if I was guessing. I mean, maybe Kevin Banks Jr.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, man,
is he going to do it, folks? Is he going to take the tight end?
Man, Tyler Warren's talent is so good. But you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the trade with the Colts.
All right.
Maybe I get lucky and for some reason they don't trade up for Tyler Warren.
Yeah, we'll have to take Matthew Golden.
No, they end up taking Tyler Warren.
I mean, if we're talking about best player team fit, it's got to be Warren to the Colts, right?
Yeah, that's a no-brainer for them if he's available.
Steelers as well. I would assume that's for Shador.
Oh, you got to get – if that's for Shador, you got to get more than that.
Yeah. So
Shador's still on the board?
I believe so. Yeah, he's still on the board.
Still on the board.
I don't see
All
him,
right,
man.
so for the sake of the mock, I'm not
crazy.
going to keep trading down and all that. I'm going to sit here and actually pick somebody. So I'm going to go with somebody in the trenches. I'm going to go Josh Simmons. I think
it's over Zabel? Over Zabel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you're a big fan of Simmons. I know
he's my 6th overall player. I know he's coming off that knee injury.
He's so good.
So Taylor, where would you play Josh Simmons if you draft him? You going to play him at right tackle? Because you say you see him as a tackle, not a guard.
Okay. I'd kick him inside. I think he can play inside for now. Something goes wrong with Jackson, I think you can end up moving him. Let me see if I can actually move this down a little bit. I think I can. So, yeah. I feel pretty confident in taking the versatility of the offensive line there.
Okay.
So, sitting here at 48, Zabel just went to the Ravens. I actually really like that pick for him.
I see one of my man crushes on the board at number 79.
Alfred Collins.
All right.
That dude is a wrecking ball of a human being.
So as much as I like taking offensive linemen, trust me, Keith, I'm there with you.
Hey, I only took 2 in my mock draft. I only took 2 offensive linemen. I had mercy on you guys.
D-line is too much of a need. Corner is too much of a need. I would throw in safety as well, but I'm kind of taking this a little bit the way you were, Keith. Like, what would I do? What do I think is semi-realistic for the Dolphins?
Yeah.
And sitting here with the D-line needs that are there, man, I really have a 1-2 punch I want to get, but I don't know if they're going to be there.
Oh, call it.
I'm gonna take the one that I like the most, and then I'm gonna hope the other one's there.
Who's your 1-2 punch?
TJ Sanders and Alfred Collins.
Yeah.
Sanders moved to defensive end, let Collins play that nose tackle.
Oh, it's not looking good.
Falcons.
Falcons traded up for him too.
Either way, TJ Sanders, I really love this guy's game. I actually went from over the last few weeks having a 2nd round grade. I bumped him up to a 1st round.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, okay. I'm a huge fan of him.
He's a hybrid. Is he a hybrid for you, or?
I think it depends on the scheme. I think in the 3-4 scheme the Dolphins have, he'll be playing defensive end. Yeah. So he'll be the guy opposite of Sealer. But looking at corner here, what do you guys think so far, by the way? I would like to hear from the room. Listeners, I would love to hear as well.
Don't remember all of your picks, but so far they're not bad.
Josh Simmons and TJ Sanders.
Yeah, I like the Josh Simmons pick. TJ Sanders over Alfred Collins. I would have gone the other way, but I mean, it's flip of a coin.
I think you've kind of boxed yourself in here, Taylor, where you need to take the player from the secondary now. I think the Dolphins are going to box themselves in either way. No matter what they take with their first 2 picks in the 3rd round here, they pretty much have to go secondary with the way this draft is shaking out for you.
Yeah, it's a very good possibility. I'm just saying if there's anybody here who I like at the D-line. I'm a big fan of Vernon Broughton. I don't really get why he's not talked about more, but it seems like the board did not
I just saw one of Keith's man crushes still on the board.
Milam.
Yep.
Yeah. Charles Grant's another one.
Charles Grant's. Yeah, he's one of my man. He's one of my certified. I'm giving them all away.
So there's anybody in the corners that are down low.
There's also a really good safety on the board still that I'm a huge fan of, like a massive fan of.
Sanker?
Nope. Go
Billy
down
Bowman?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see what trades are on the board.
At 119, you're not.
None of them
No,
are
I
very
don't think you can
enticing.
take those. Yeah. You got to pick somebody here. And you know what? I'm going to go corner. I'm going to go with somebody who I do think can play now. I'm a big fan of him. I'm going Kobe Bryant.
I like it.
I think it's a bit of a reach. I think it'll be a day 3 pick, but this is closer to day 3. Do think he, like I said, play now. He plays in his own scheme. I think that's where he thrives, a ball hawk kind of player. But
you got back-to-back picks. Hey.
Mm-hmm.
So now I think that now that you've addressed corner here, Taylor, I think now you have the luxury of picking your favorite player, best player available kind of thing.
I still think you need a safety.
That is true, but there's a few players I do like in the lower tiers.
I think number 119 is perfect. Kidding.
That might be the next pick, but I will be going and go with a wide receiver here.
See the size that they have Tez Johnson at in this one? 154.
What is it?
Whoa.
Oh, man. I'm going to go Isaac Tesla here.
I'm a big fan of his. Big fan of his. Like, bigger than I thought I would be.
Yeah, the problem is the production.
Mm-hmm.
You look at it and you look at his film and you're like, oh, man, he's really good. Wait, how many catches does he have? It doesn't add up.
I don't think he broke over 900 yards in a season, but he plays at Arkansas. Look at their quarterback situation.
Now, he plays mostly in the slot, but he is somebody who I think is a really good player overall who can just seamlessly get downfield, get contested catches, has that separation, all that kind of stuff. But he does seem a bit raw still, so you'll have to develop that.
Also, I've watched tape on him. I can't believe he's 6'4". He looks smaller on the field.
But hey, we talked about too, like something the Dolphins need is somebody who can go up and get it, and Tesla can go up and get it.
I mean, at 6'4", he's standing taller than some of our wide receivers can jump. So
yeah.
Now, I'm gonna go safety here. This is gonna be a bit of a reach. This is a player I have a 3rd round grade on. Going Craig Woodson.
Good pedigree.
Yep. This guy is somebody who I think will either be a Pro Bowl player or out of the league in a year and a half by the way he plays.
Hey, it's all a crapshoot.
It really is, but I really like a lot of the talk I've seen about him is like he struggles in coverage. I mean, he's fine. Like nothing that I think I would really, deduct him for.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a really good in-the-box kind of safety. And I know that's not necessarily what the Dolphins need, but they also need tone setters, and that's exactly what Woodson is, in my opinion. So sitting here at 135.
I can't believe Will Howard's still on the board. That's crazy.
Just see what the interior is looking like. There's one guy I really like.
Dude, Luke Kandra is one of my new favorite players in this entire draft out of UConn.
Mm-hmm.
Is that him?
Guys, forgive
Kandra's on the board.
Forgive my ignorance here. Is Craig Woodson Charles Woodson's son?
I think it's a cousin or nephew or something. He's a cousin or nephew to an NFL player. I can't remember who.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. I could be. Don't quote me on that. There's a lineman, and it's not the guy I'm thinking of. There's a lineman out of UConn that I watched film on, and I'm blanking on his name, but I'm a huge fan of his. An O lineman. Sorry.
Okay.
I think at this point too, I'm also looking at the money you'll probably get from a Ramsey trade or cut post June 1st, and that money being used on free agents as well. So while it does look bleak, and I also know that my nickname down here is the Press Fin Fan, man, there are still free agents out there. I'm not saying that Dolphins are going to go get people and everything's going to be great, but it's not like the end of the world if every position is not addressed in this draft.
No, and I saw a thing on Reddit the other day, to your point here, Taylor, like, Dolphins fans, well, there's nobody available after the draft. And then there was a a post, from last year of the Calais Campbell signing. There are guys that are going to be available for the Dolphins after the draft, after the dust settles, after June 1st. There's going to be guys that they can take and will be impact players for them.
So what I'm gonna do here,
I like Jackson Slater too. I like Jackson.
I really
Slater
do as well. Now I do think in terms of what the Dolphins would do here, they take an interior. Jackson Slater, Willie Lampkin, I think fit a lot more than Kendrick.
Now,
in terms of what I think McDaniel would like. But
we touched on this last week in regards to Lampkin. Do you see the Dolphins putting a 280, 290 pound guard next to their 280, 290 pound center? Like,
that is kind of a problem.
I don't know that I like that very much, to be honest with you. I'd like a Donovan Jackson, more so than,
he's so good.
Yeah.
He's going to be so good.
I'd like a Tyler Booker. A Tyler Booker next to, next to
somebody about 330, 340.
Yeah, a guy who
a Ravens guard.
You're not going to push him back. Yeah, Ravens guard.
I know the pick. I mean, come on now.
There he is.
There you go.
The Stutzman himself.
That's Mr. Stutzman to you, sir.
Talk about man.
What was it? I only know two things in life. I can probably pull this up. It was something that was just fantastic. But yeah, Danny Stutzman's a hell of a player. He's another tone setter. But he said, I'm certain about two things in life. One, that Oklahoma only fears God. And another is that, and number two, Texas fears Oklahoma. Said that in 2023 before their game.
I mean, how can you be mad at it, right?
Yeah. I love it.
But yeah, Stutzman does kind of struggle a bit as in terms of coverage and all that, but
I think he has the athletic traits to get better in that area, though.
All right. Speeding up a little bit here, I do think we need to get a power back. I really like Jarquez Hunter. He does remind me a bit of the muscle hamster, but Kyle Manon guy, who you said, run with him.
So you've actually taken a couple of guys that I took, Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Great minds, man. Great minds think alike. That's all I have to say about that. A lot of time between these picks here.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's not.
Speed it up a little more.
It's not your fault. It really shows. Yeah, it really shows how much there's going to be a bit of a gap for the Dolphins.
Now in a bit of the deep end here. Just want to say on my picks I got 3 picks really quick to make. Deion Walker still sitting here. I'm not a big fan of him in like the higher rounds, but considering his size and what he can bring to the table in terms of the athletic profile.
7? Holy shit, that guy's big.
It's at least you get a Roquan Davis type, on the D line, which I think is much needed.
Who's still a free agent, by the way.
Yeah, that's okay. He can stay a free agent.
I'm gonna take a quarterback, and I really like Max Brosmer out of Minnesota. I think he's somebody in a draft class filled with a lot of projection. He's a guy who just feels like, oh yeah, he's a QB3, might develop into something like a QB2, but reliable. But this guy, Curtis Work from Indiana, tough as nails. I think he could deliver accurate passes, play within the system. Perfect fit to me for Miami. And last pick.
So you see him as like a stash practice squad player, or like he could actually get some play time?
Yeah. More of like QB3. Let's see if he can end up being the future QB2 for the team. That way you don't have to keep picking up people like Zach Wilson every year.
That's fair.
So last pick, I'm not going to really care too much.
What are your thoughts on Emory Jones?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I've gotten to them.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of hot and cold on them. I watch some film and I'm like, ooh, hello. And then I watch other films and I'm like, ooh, you just got pancaked and washed by a player that I don't have in my top five rounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's why he's still available in round 7. So
exactly.
Get what you get. I like it. I do like Tuss. I do like the tackle Tuss out of
Truss,
or Truss. Yeah.
Last pick, I'm gonna go tight end. I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't seen him, but I've seen the Dolphins pick Dipper in a lot of mock drafts. So I'm gonna do the same.
All right, let's see what you got. What's total?
Can I see my picks? There we go. So that is the final draft right there. Josh Simmons, TJ Sanders, Kobe Bryant, Isaac Tesla, Craig Woodson, Luke Kandra, Danny Stutzman, Kyle Monangai, Deion Walker, Curtis Rourke, and lastly, CJ Dipper.
I like it.
Yeah. I think that that draft addressed a lot of needs without trading back, without kind of trading back too much, I should say, without sacrificing the high end talent that's available in this draft. All right, so Josh, you're up, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. It is time. All right, I am using Pro Football and so PFS Network, right? So I've selected Miami here. Draft speed super fast. We're doing 7 rounds. We're going to enter the solo draft. There we go. It's going to kick us off here. All right, let's see what we got. All right, New Orleans wants to no thanks, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. This seems to be very frequent in every draft. They've tried to trade up for one.
They seem really paranoid that we're going to take Tyler Warren.
Yeah, that's very true. It's I'm curious. I bet you New Orleans is trading up for Shedeur Sanders here. Do I feel comfortable trading completely out of the first? I don't know. I mean, Sanders is there. Tyler Warren is there, who I'm a big fan of, right? Matthew Golden, Mike Green, off the field issues, okay. Harmon, Jade Barron's my guy. Malachi Starks is still there. Nicky Manwari. So there's some great players here, right? As I continue to go down, let's see who's around here. So Kenneth Grant. If I drop down to 40, Siobhan Revel, Maxwell Harrison, Donovan Jackson. I mean, so there's some good players here. So the real question is, do I take the chance and trade out of the first to acquire picks in the 2 rounds later, or in rounds 2 and 3 that have better talent, right? Or talent to position value, if you will. I don't know what to do, right? Because do I risk it for the biscuit here?
So personally, I mean, and I'm not telling you what to do here, Josh.
No, you're good.
Personally, when I look at how these boards play out, if there's certain players that aren't available to me, so like, Will Campbell obviously probably won't be available. Neither will Armand Membu. Will Johnson isn't available. If certain guys aren't available, I'm trading back, and I'm not thinking twice about it, getting more talent.
Yeah, I'm gonna try something here. I don't know if this will let me do it. Gonna take their second, and I'm gonna give them 135. Let's try 150.
There's no way they accept that.
No. All right, it's worth a shot. All right, so you know what? For fun, this isn't really what I think Miami will do, right? I think they have too many needs, but for fun, let's try it. I'm gonna take it.
All right.
Well, not only that, like that's the beauty of all 3 of us doing different mock drafts. Like I basically stuck at 13. I went 1 pick down.
Yeah.
Keith went down to like 30. So you going all the way to the second round, you're kind of just, more variety in the picks.
So this actually worked out really well, right? So the next picks are 48. So we pick in 8 spots, 71 and 93. I think there is, outside of the top 2 safeties in this draft, which is for me, Starks and Imanwari, I think there is a significant drop off. Whereas the defensive tackles, now, spoiler alert, those are my 2 top needs. There are really good and decent defensive tackles down the depth charts, right? So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take Imanwari. Not
Okay.
the most perfect fit for this team, but a stunning athlete across the board. Plug and play kind of player. He's a day one starter in my opinion. And look who is on the board.
Yep.
So oh man, but Donovan Jackson's still there. Whew. Okay. Let's see something. I want to see something.
Not to influence your pick, but I mean, you can kind of also look at the D line and interior offensive line to see where the depth is.
Thanks, Taylor.
So there's still
a lot.
To Taylor's point, there's still a lot of depth at the defensive line.
Yeah, because on this D line, I like Kenneth Grant. I like Williams. I'm not huge on Sanders, but Sanders is really good. I like Alfred Collins. I like Norman Lott. I like Shamar Turner. I mean, so there's a lot. Let's see. I'm probably going offensive line here. Yeah, because after these three.
Yeah, right, there's a drop off.
Oh man, alive! Because I do like Savonnet as well, but I don't know if you take him over. If Donovan Jackson and Savonnet, okay, I'm sending it to the consensus. These are two, like, it's 50-50 for me. I think Savonnet is a monster. I think Donovan Jackson's a monster. Who would you guys take?
I would take Donovan Jackson.
What about you?
This is a nightmare for you because I'm going to take Savonnet.
I'm taking Savonnet. I'm going with my gut. I'm probably going to regret it. Let's see who's available. TJ Sanders is still available. Jack Besh is still available. Norman Lott, Turner. Okay. Oh boy. When's my next pick? 93 and 98. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to all right, so we got a safety and a guard. We need a defensive tackle bad. Yeah, he's a little light for me. That's why I'm not a huge fan of his, but let's see. All right, here's what we're going to do, fellas. We're going to take a fun pick right here. We're going to go Jaden Higgins.
Oh, okay.
71. And hope, oh, there it goes. Okay, well, and this is why the draft is fun, because the player you thought was going to be there just got destroyed. All right. One pick ahead of you. There's nothing worse than that happening. All right, so we're going to go defense here. We're going to go cornerback. Let's see at the cornerback position.
Well, there's the drop-off.
Yeah, yep. No kidding. Defensive tackle. I like Farmer. I like Walker. I like Phillips. 22. When do I pick next?
116. Right. No, 98. 98 you pick next. So
no, oh, yeah, 98. Okay. So, man, this is tough. All right, we're going to Arroyo. I'm a big fan of his. I'm surprised he's still available. And here we're going. I mean, I feel like I have to go defensive tackle here, right?
Or cornerback.
Yeah, it's the cornerbacks there. I mean, Noah Williams from Cal. Man, I wish I had the one from earlier today. It was perfect. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to go cornerback, right? I feel like I kind of backed myself into a corner here. No, I'm trying to remember who oh yeah, this is the guy I liked. All right, we're going Noel Williams from California. And then we're going John Walker out of Kentucky. This is good. This is good. And I'm going to double up with Jordan Phillips from Maryland. All right, let's see where we're at so far, fellas. So we got Imanwari, Savonnet, Jaden Higgins, Elijah Arroyo, Williams out of Cal, Walker and Phillips back-to-back, doubled up D tackles.
So, Josh, you're not a vegan is what I'm saying here, because that is a lot of beef.
Yeah, I purposely went into this looking for something very specific, and we needed to get bigger. We needed to get bigger faster. Who's available here? Let's see.
You know, it was bad when Arroyo's the one who's sticking out so far. It's like, he doesn't really fit in with the rest of the guys.
Yeah, no kidding. The 6'5" tight end, right?
Yeah, the wide receiver sticks out more.
Another tight end who I really like in this draft who's still available is Rondé Gadsden Jr.
Should I go both?
I mean, I have he's got his father's hands. I'll say that. Like, guy catches everything.
Everything. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're going with the prime real estate name at linebacker, Mr. Buchanan, and it is Mr. Buchanan if we draft him. And I think I need to look at. Let's see where we got. We got offensive guard. Let's look at the offensive lines really quick. No, I mean Rivers isn't so bad. Caleb Rogers, Colin Pierce. Okay. Ooh, Joshua Gray still available. Kandra's still available. Clay Webb, Marcus Tate. All right, fellas. Who?
Willie Lampkin's
Will Lampkin's. Yeah, he's good too. All right. So we're going to. Is Harvey who I remember? No, it's not who I thought. So. All right. We're going to go Cornelius out of Oregon. I'm sorry for hitting my mic for those that are listening.
There's a part of me that would really like to see us draft Willie Lampkin. Put him next to Aaron Brewer, like you were saying, Keith.
Yeah.
And if it works, it's going to be so funny. Because it's just people who are about 290, 300 at most.
Yeah.
Just bulldozing people.
Well, I'll say this. You put him next to Aaron Brewer, you'll have the most mobile offensive line in the NFL, and that's with Patrick.
I would hope so.
At
that point.
Oh, God, this is my guy, too. I'm a big fan of Horn Jr. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go Willie Lampkin.
All right.
Yeah. We're going to go Jay Higgins out of Iowa, who I'm a big fan of. And last but certainly not least, well, there you go.
That's it.
Yeah. So we traded out of the first completely. And we traded significantly farther down in the second. We ended up with Imanwari Savanea at 48. Jaden Higgins, a luxury pick, but one of my favorite players in this draft now. I can't believe I've done a complete 180 on this player. Big, tall guy, fast guy, exactly the polar opposite.
A couple of weeks ago, he wasn't even your top 100, was he, Josh?
Nope, he was 113, I think he was.
Okay.
Elijah Arroyo's flaming up everyone's draft boards. I like what I see out of him. I think he can contribute immediately. Noel Williams out of Cal. I think he's kind of under the radar a little bit. I've only watched a couple games of Cal this year, and he did stand out in one of them. So, took a flyer on him because I kind of got boxed into needing a cornerback. Mm-hmm. Doubled up on D tackle. Walker and Phillips. Phillips I'm a big fan of in the mid to late rounds. Your guy, Mr. Buchanan, linebacker out of Cal. Cornelius and Lampkin really kind of hit the offensive and defensive lines here, which we need. And then took a flyer on an Iowa linebacker at Jay Higgins, while also picking up New Orleans' second and third round pick next year.
So, Josh,
and also, I was just going to say, continuing the tradition of getting, Jalen's, which confuses the roster a bit. You also got Jaden Higgins and Jay Higgins.
So, Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Now, Josh, I'll level with you. I wasn't a fan of your first 5 picks. I think you redeemed your draft with your next 5 picks. Deion Walker, Jordan Phillips back-to-back. I love those two. Teddy Buchanan, I'm a big fan of him. I've been banging that drum for a little while now. And Willie Lampkin, I know I've said to Taylor, do you really want to put him next to Aaron Brewer? But, Taylor's not wrong. At the Senior Bowl, he didn't really lose all that often. And you know what? At that size, like, all right, say he gets in the NFL and you can get him up to 300 pounds, you might have something here. You really might.
And honestly, he's not a starter now, right? I mean,
not right now.
I think 7A. So this is how I envision these players. I think Imanwari is an immediate starter, right? And the number one safety on the team, in my opinion. 7A slots in, bam, right in between Patrick Paul, or not Patrick Paul, right in between Brewer and AJ, in my opinion, right? So he's on the right side, the right guard. Jaden Higgins, in my opinion, is immediately wide receiver 3 on this team, without even playing, with the potential of assuming Tyreek Hill isn't there, wide receiver 2, right? These are all under the assumptions that that Hill eventually gets traded. Even if it's at the end of the season, I think next year he's wide receiver 2. That's how good I think he can be watching his film. Arroyo, I think, given that we haven't re-upped Jonnu, I think Arroyo is tight end 2 immediately in that room, and then has the potential to step into that starter role. Noah Williams, I honestly don't know too much about him. I know of him. I've watched a few games that he's played in. I needed a cornerback, so I took the one that was the highest rated, right? I mean, I'm going to just admit it here on live on the air. Defensive tackle, I think with these two and Sealer, I think we're set. I mean, I think Jordan Phillips is going to be a monster. Walker, I think, has the ability to be a monster. Buchanan, sure, I think he could be a starter, right? I mean, maybe not immediately, right? I think we signed some of our free agents like Willie Gay and a few others. I think because of the veteran presence and their they have experience in this league. Teddy will probably be slow rolled, play a lot of special teams, in my opinion. The next 2 picks, these are all future, right? I mean, they'll probably play some. Hopefully, you don't see them on the field too much unless there's a ton of injuries. And then Jay Higgins is a flyer, right? I mean, once you get into the 200s, it's all a lottery, right?
Yeah.
And then New Orleans, I don't see them being very good this year. So, we got a high second and a high third coming back to us.
I like it. Like I said, I think you redeemed yourself with 116 through 224.
Okay.
I'll say that.
What about you? What are your thoughts?
I like it. I think especially at 48 or 40. What is that? 40. I have terrible eyesight. Nickel Imawari, I think, is a good pick there. Jonah Savanaia is somebody who I've really turned around on from being like, oh yeah, I do see the flaws, but the pros vastly outweigh them to me. Jaden Higgins, Arroyo, great players. Arroyo, I do think he has a penalty issue.
Yeah,
personally,
he grabs a lot.
Yeah, so he'll fit right in with Julian Hill. But next row, Deion Walker, Jordan Phillips. I feel like there's a little bit of redundancy there, but at the same time,
that's the problem with it. Our defensive tackle room is one that kind of needs a little bit of redundancy. Like we need some bodies in there, man.
Yeah, I can't be mad at it because, like you said, Keith, you need a little bit of redundancy there. You don't really fill that opposite of Sealer role. But to be fair, again, Jalen Ramsey will most likely be cut or traded post June 1st, opens up money, ton of free agents. Like I was saying in my mock draft, like not sitting here to copium or anything like that, but free agency is still there. It's still a factor.
See, I think Jordan Phillips can be a day one starter next to Zach, personally. I mean, I really do. Now, again, because you guys didn't do quite a lot of trades, I swung for the fences and traded completely out of the first. I doubt that will happen, right?
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. But I wanted to have a little bit of fun.
Right? Yeah. Well, you got more picks, which is important. I just, like the Jaden Higgins pick felt like a luxury. I know you're a big fan of him now, Josh. Felt like a luxury. Even Elijah Arroyo felt like a luxury. Like I would have liked to have seen cornerback / defensive tackle with.
Yeah, and I probably should have, but I was thinking more. Oops, I dropped my pen. I was thinking more like, the draft is the now, but it's also for the future, right? And so that's why I traded I got the extra picks. But I also I think Jaden Higgins is a moderate to highly moderate contributor in year one and rookie season. Next year, I could see him being like I said, our number 2, because Hill's not going to be here, irregardless if we trade him or not. We're not going to pay him $53 million. He's gone, right? And I, looking to the future, and yes, I probably shouldn't have waited to get a cornerback at 98, who I'm not too familiar with, and I probably shouldn't be relying on Jordan Phillips and Deion Walker, but hey, that's the way the board fell.
Also, I have to point out, now Nick Emenwari at 40 is a steal. The more I watch Nick Emenwari, the less of a fan I am of him, actually.
Thank you, Keith.
I find him to be like stiff and not agile at all. And he looks like Tarzan, but he doesn't hit like Tarzan. He's not the best tackler. Like his 40 time is undeniable. Like he's fast, and for a guy that size, like that's great. But the more I watch Nick Emenwari, and I don't want to, I don't know. He doesn't feel like the surefire, bona fide first rounder that he's been made out to be. He seemed like a mid-second, third round guy.
Oh, and I'm with you, right? And I guess for me, I see such a significant, and we said it when the pick came, right? Because I think Kenneth Grant was still on the board, right? And he's one of my favorite players. The problem is there's such a steep drop off at the safety position after these top two guys, versus the slow decline at defensive tackle, for example.
But like, I'd almost rather have like a Kevin Winston at his draft position than where you'd have to draft Nick Emenwari.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or like a Billy Bowman in the third, as opposed to taking it. Yeah.
I feel so vindicated.
Like, what do you see when you see Nick Emenwari, Taylor?
A lot of potential in the box safety. Think he can be a great tackler, but he's so inconsistent in his motor. There'll be some plays where he gets after it, and you're like, oh, that's Cam Chancellor like.
Yeah.
And then there's some plays where it's like you could have gotten in there, but you just didn't. And there's so many players on this Dolphins, not just defense, the Dolphins team, that feels like there's not that urgency, And that's why I've been a little hesitant on Emenwari. But that being said, I'm not going to like knock the pick completely if he's there, because Josh, all the positives you talked about, they're there. Athletic freak, like top 5 athlete in the draft, in my opinion.
Yeah, and honestly, guys, I mean, I'm more sold on Malachi Starks. I think he's a much better fit, but at 40, it was a
at 40, you can't really go wrong. Yeah.
I probably would have taken the Kenneth Grant at DT at 40 because he was still there. I think he's going to be a much better player, but just having some fun. I don't want to keep picking the same guys I pick all the time.
Fair enough. All right, so guys, we're going to wrap it up there because we are going to be back tomorrow night with a live draft show, and we're going to be back Friday night with a live draft show. So it's a minute 18, an hour 18, a minute 18. Felt like a minute 18. This show went by pretty quick. But so we're going to be back tomorrow night with the live draft show. So any final thoughts? Josh, I'll start with you.
No, again, for those that are watching this now or watching this later, this was just a kind of a fun, low-key, nothing crazy kind of show, right? We just wanted to get in front, hang out and get in front of the fans and just have a little bit of fun right before the draft starts, which, correct me, fellas, if I'm wrong, please. We are live at 8 p.m. tomorrow night.
Yes,
is when the draft starts.
I think I had the show scheduled for 7, so I'll change that.
Okay, just double check. I could be wrong. I know that round 2. I know round 2 and 3 starts at 7.
It probably is 8. I just I just threw a time in there.
That's okay.
But I'll change that.
Yeah, but we'll be live, like Keith said. We'll be live at tomorrow, starting at 8 o'clock. We'll be covering every single pick in the first round live and in living color. And for those of you that know that, get that reference. You'll laugh if you don't. Sorry. Go look up in living color on YouTube. But anyways,
you're probably too if you didn't get that reference, I don't know if Taylor got that reference. You're probably too young.
Cult of personality. You got it.
I love it. Okay. All right.
Taylor, final thoughts.
Excited for the show tomorrow. I'm glad that we figured out the time because that's something I had not thought about before right now. So, I'm glad we figured that out. But yeah, man, really excited for the show tomorrow. Anybody listening, leave us your mock drafts in the comments.
Yeah. Who'd you like to see the Dolphins take? First, second, third, fourth round. And again, if you like what you saw tonight, please like, subscribe, leave some comments, all that good stuff. We'll see you. I almost said next week. We will see you tomorrow. We will see you tomorrow. Have a lovely, lovely night.